One of my first CGI influences was the second Terminator movie, when the Terminator turned into like liquid metal and passed right through the bars, and I thought that was really cool.
I watched a movie called Dinosaur. It was about dinosaurs, and it was pretty cool because I could see the dinosaur all around, and as he moved and jumped through lakes. Pretty cool.
It was in Call of Duty World at War. It was the very first time that I actually saw a 3D object that I could look around.
Probably movies like 300 for games, maybe something like For Honor.
In the beginning, I was pretty confident because I had some experience with moving around in 3D, and I was also pretty excited because it's something I hadn't really messed with before.
It was kind of scary because I really didn't know what to do, so I was pretty lost at first, but I understood in the middle.
It was pretty hard. We started off as just building like small things like a square, a button, and also a hat, and then as we went on, we got like more experience. We made the whole school in it. It was really fun, but it also had its same challenges.
Kind of crazy, something kind of new I've never really dipped my toes into. But it was a fun to experience. You know, I was trying to work in other 3D designs like with Blender and stuff like that. So this is a good first beginning.
It was new. I had to get used to it. Computers made it very slow.
One of the toughest parts for me was definitely putting together the air conditioning, because when I had it at first, it was way too big, so I had to make it smaller. But it didn't want to go smaller, so I had to individually make each part smaller, and that took like a day or so. So that was annoying.
Difficult thing I needed to create was the awnings, because halfway through we realized that some of the buildings were off scale, and I had to go through each and every single one of these awnings, changing the scale, putting them down, and then lifting them up back again.
My hardest part was lining up everything after the remodeling. After process, put trash cans, I had to line my bleachers and my hoops to line where he puts trash cans to get the whole picture.
It was actually getting the retention pond because the fence would not line up correctly with the other fence that I put right beside it. So I had to level it out without it being too big or too small. I had to make it just right.
When I was making the roof for Corbin, I didn't really understand it, so I had to get Mr. Ward to help me, and he would like go on different sides and explain on how to do it and stuff.
The toughest part for me was probably figuring out like what Mr. Ward was honestly saying at the beginning, because I'll be real, I just didn't understand half of it because I'm kind of new to all this, you know? Like he was telling me to do a configuration with a wall. I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean do a configuration with a wall? The wall's right there.
So the most difficult thing was me making this building behind me. It took like a month. We had to redo it a couple times because of the difficulty. It took us a couple tries to get the shape right, and we had to add more things after, and that was a tough time too.
We used a cool website/program called Asana. Asana is a productivity management app that we used to assign tasks and different things, and it definitely helped us keep track of what we were supposed to do.
It was quite easy, you know. It was assigned tasks to complete, and once you do them, you put them in the complete section.
It's really helpful. It's like a task manager, and when you're done with the task, you say that you're finished with it, and then you slide on to the next one.
I used it a little. I wasn't one of the main people that used Asana a lot. I was in and out. Whenever I was mostly done with the stuff that I was assigned, then that was when we started using Asana. So I only know the basics, putting stuff in, assigning it, getting assigned, and then adding it into either the done or in progress.
Asana is very helpful because you don't have to like speak to the person about what they're doing, because like you can just like assign it without like even talking to them, and it's pretty usable. It's pretty easy to use. It's pretty simple.
Asana, it's a good way of keeping up with a big assignment like this. I think it was very useful for us.
I learned how to take something that I can see in the real world and then figure out ways to recreate that in a digital space. Like taking normal stuff and figuring out how to recreate that by myself without stealing somebody else's stuff.
I learned how to work better as a team whenever we're doing these 3D sort of projects, and how to better understand shapes in a 3D environment. Because, you know, it's kind of confusing at first, like even with a program as simple yet sort of complicated as Roblox, to really know how to morph shapes and how to remove parts of that shape so you can stick them together to make weirder shapes. But it worked out.
I learned how to use Asana.
Well, I learned my axis is better, you know, my X, Y, and Z. You know how to manage myself and how to work with others better.
I learned how intricate 3D models can be. It's absolutely crazy. Just one lamp has easily 50 different parts that you have to use.
I learned that it takes a lot of skill to just place down a block. You have to think about like the future of like what you're gonna do in that space. If you have to remake it like a dozen times, it'll be worth it because you're gaining experience.
I'm capable of 3D design. I learned that I could do whatever I put my mind to.